Hi, 7th grade. Today we're going to pause where we're at in volume, and we'll get back to that tomorrow. But today I want to focus on the Pythagorean theorem. In the lesson that we did, they breezed over what the Pythagorean theorem is in the very beginning of the lesson. But they have more in-depth information in the back of the book on page 538. So if you could join me on page 538, that's where we're going to be working today, the Pythagorean theorem. And these aren't chapters of the book. This is like extra information. So it's titled A-1. All right. The Pythagorean theorem relates only to right triangles. Okay. The right angle is opposite the longest side, which is called the hypotenuse. Okay, so the longest side, the slant, the side opposite that 90-degree angle is called the hypotenuse. The other two sides of the right triangle are called legs. I've written that. Okay, so we've got the picture and then we've got the words. In a right triangle, the side opposite of the right angle is called the hypotenuse. The other two sides are legs. I'll try and back it up a little bit. Sorry, guys. Okay. If a triangle is a right triangle, then the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the legs. So more words, right? But what that means is if we were to label them side A, side B, and side C, C, the hypotenuse, squared, is equal to the sum of A and B squared. Okay? So C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared, or we can reverse it. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. What's important is that C, the longest side, is the hypotenuse. Okay? And that A and B are the legs. The shorter sides. Okay? Today we're going to be working the formula, and on a calculator you're going to be using the square root function. So I know on the iPhone, you know, if you hold it sideways, right, you get more options in the calculator, and on my iPhone it's a button that looks like this. This is the one that you'll want. If you're using a normal calculator, it might look like this. It might not have the 2, so just be careful, take a look, try it out, right? Maybe pick a number you know, like 25, and then try the buttons, because, you know, 5 times 5 is 25, so that's an easy way to check if you're using that button correctly. Okay, so let's go ahead and try an example. We'll say that the directions are find the missing length. And we've got what looks like a right triangle, and they give us 12 inches on the left and 5 inches on the bottom, and then X on the slant. So because I know the right angle is here and the opposite side is the hypotenuse, that means that this is C. X is equal to C. So if I start with this first formula, c squared equals a squared plus b squared, and substitute in the information from this first example, the c I don't know, so I'm going to put x squared. And then the a, it doesn't matter which one I pick because they both just are legs. So I'll say a is 12 and I'll say b is 5. So 12 squared plus 5 squared. And if you're not sure what these are, definitely use a calculator. X squared is equal to, so 12 times 12 is 144, and 5 times 5 is 25, okay? Which means I still have x squared on the left, but on the right, when I combine them, I get 169. So this is when you're going to use this button. In your calculator, put 169 and then hit this, square rooted, will break the x from the squared. You'll find out what just one of them is, which is what we want. So the square root of 169 is 13. And because we were given inches in our problem, we wanted inches in our answer. So the missing side is 13 inches. Okay? All right, let's do another. Let's say we have a triangle that looks like this. Let's say we've got 9 and 12 this time. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And on this side, I did the side, the vertical side A. So this time I'm going to switch it. I'm going to make that B, and I'm going to make my bottom A, just to show you that it doesn't matter which one you pick. What only matters is that the side opposite of the 90-degree angle, that one is the C. Okay? So when I substitute in, I'm going to end up with x squared for the C. And for the A, I've got 12 squared, and for the B, I have 9 squared. $144, 12 squared plus 81, 9 squared is x squared. When I add 144 and 81, I get 225 equals x squared. So I square root both sides, and I end up with 15 and an x. My label here was meters, so my answer needs to have the same. So C was equal to 15 meters. All right, guys. Last one. This one, we're going to do one of the legs missing. We're going to say one of the legs are missing. Which I'm not sure you'll have one like this in your homework, but that's okay. I know you can handle it. Let's say we have a triangle that looks like this. Let's say 17 is the hypotenuse, and let's say 8 is underneath, and we'll say inches. So to solve for the missing side, we need to plug in what we have. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to work on this one quietly so that you guys can try it on your own. If you get stuck, then by all means join me, okay? go ahead and pause it if you're still working, because I'm going to go over it. All right, so for this example, I labeled A, our unknown. B, I gave the 8, and then C, our longest side, was 17. So when I substituted in, that looked like here. X squared plus 8 squared is equal to 17 squared. X squared obviously stays the same. 8 times 8 is 64, and 17 times 17 is 289. This one was different from the last two because here the variables were already alone. So all we had to do was set up to solve. But here it was not. The 64 was on the same side as the x. So we have to move the 64 over by doing the inverse operation, so the opposite of what we see. So it was plus 64, so we subtract 64. And whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other, right? Remembering that twin rule. And then we're left with x squared and 225. So we square root both sides to get just one x instead of two x's. And we find that the missing side, which was A in this one, is 15 inches. For homework tonight, I'd like you to take a look at page 540, and we're going to try, let's do the odds, 3 to 11. Okay, thanks guys, good luck.